Hey everyone, what's going on? Today we are going to be taking a look at the Benchmade Griptilian. This is the 551 model with the orange handles, orange scales with a drop point blade. Now, I recently picked this knife up about a week ago to just kind of change things up a little bit, EDC wise. Haven't owned many Benchmades in the past. The only one I've had actually is the 583-1 model, which was the collaboration with Warren Industries. But it was a cool knife, definitely different from this one. But for starters, let me just go ahead and say this is just going to be my overall opinion on the knife. It's not scripted. I don't have a list of things I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to kind of just go from nothing here, start from scratch, and just kind of give you my opinion of the knife. So let me start off by weighing it and give you the actual weight. Now, all right, let me zero out my scale. Looks to be about 4.1 ounces, 4.0, 4.1, somewhere in between there. Which some would say is, I think most people would classify that as a medium weight knife. It's not really lightweight, it's not heavyweight, it's kind of in the middle. Now let me give you some dimensions here as far as the measurements on it. Looks to be about I'd say about 4.8 inches long closed. Let me see the width of the knife. Probably, I'd say 0.75 wide, maybe 0.5, somewhere in between 0.5 and 0.75. Let me measure that from the back. Yeah, so you see, it's kind of a wider knife. The handles really aren't squared off. It's more of a rounded design, so it is wider in some spots than others. Let me measure the blade length. Cutting edge, you're looking at about, I'd say 3.5 inches, and the overall blade length is probably 3.75 inches, somewhere around there. But first impressions of the knife, when I pulled it out of the box, I was really impressed with the grip. As they call it, the Griptilian. Get a grip is what I'm going to call this video. So definitely has a good grip in hand. The scales are really extremely grippy. It's a different kind of grip than your typical G10 in that these little spots that grip into your hand, they're a little bit sharp. So it kind of has a different feel, something you might have to get used to. It has excellent jimping on the top of the handle as well as the top of the blade, so you can really dig your thumb in there when you're holding it in hand. There is also jimping on the bottom end of the handle, also in the metal right there, and also on the bottom edge of the handle. Now, if you look inside of the Griptilian, inside of these plastic scales, there is a steel liner inside. It appears to be milled out, but it's not in the full length of the handle. What I mean by that is when I'm looking in it, you're probably not going to see it with the camera, but it appears to me to go down, like it starts from about right here, and then it kind of cuts down like about to this area. So it's not all the way up from both sides of the handle. It kind of goes down along like this, so it doesn't take up the entire handle. Now I think that does give it a little bit of durability, makes the knife a little bit sturdier. But as I said, they're not full steel liners. It's just a smaller strip of steel that goes down, only about that much into the handle, not the full length of the handle or the full width. It's about halfway through. I'm sure I would get a better explanation of that if I took the knife apart, but I'm not going to do that. But just know that it's mostly just plastic handles, but there is a strip of steel that goes down, adds a little bit of stability. Now, as far as the pocket clip, this one rides, not very low in pocket. I mean, it rides low, but you're going to see about that much knife sticking out of your pocket, which can be an issue for some if you're trying to conceal it. But I think that it's pretty good. I'd prefer a deep carry or a deeper carry pocket clip, but this one's still good, still doable. The pocket clip is pretty sturdy. One thing you'll notice is that it sits right on the grip portion of the scales of the handle, so it is a little bit harder to slide under. If you're sliding some clothing under there, it's going to take some effort. you might want to see about possibly smoothing that out down the road, but that's up to you. But I have found that it does shred your pants a little bit. I haven't tore any holes in my pants, but it is really hard to clip onto your clothing or your garments or whatever you want to call them. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's a pretty standard pocket clip design. It feels to be pretty straight as far as the angle between this portion of the clip and the portion that kind of dips down and goes out. So you want to be careful with that, because you don't want to catch this on stuff and lose your knife or scratch up cars as you're walking by. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good pocket clip. Now this does have the Axis lock, no assist. It's a manual opening with thumb stud on both sides of the blade. So there's been a lot said about the Axis lock. A lot of people consider it to be one of the strongest locks. Kind of like this ball. It's not a ball lock, but it has a similar design in that you could pull it down right here and just close it like that. And it deploys really smoothly, really easily. It was a little stiff out of the package, but that's pretty normal for any knife. So after you use it a little bit, it loosens up. Now as far as the blade, is there any blade play? There's a little bit side to side, a little bit of wobble, but that's normal because you're going to need some space for it to deploy smoothly. But the important part is there any blade play front to back? None at all. It's just solid. Now of course I haven't used this one that much. I've only had it a week, but and I've sliced through a little bit of cardboard and just some food prep stuff. But nonetheless, a lot of people have said that the lockup stays pretty good on this knife, so I won't get into the details too much further than that. But I will say that I do enjoy this locking mechanism on this knife. It's pretty. I think it's a cool design, and I've been liking it a lot when I've carried it. So the only other knife I've had similar to this locking mechanism was the Spyderco Sage 3. Now it's definitely not the Axis lock, but it has the similar design in that you can close the blade by holding it like that and closing it. So that's what I mean by that. But overall, I really like the lock so far on this. I like the thumb stud opener. Really grabs your finger, when you're trying to deploy the blade. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a close-up shot of this because of the focusing on my camera, but it definitely grabs your thumb if you were to deploy it. Now I'm used to opening my Spyderco's use the middle finger flick. It's a little bit harder to do on a Benchmade. You have to adjust the way you do it, but you can do it. So you can flick it open with your thumb or also your middle finger if you wanted to from behind. So that's kind of cool. I like to play with my knives when I get bored, as many of you guys do too, I'm sure. Now the blade steel is 154 cm. I don't have any experience with this steel or with any other knives, but from what I hear from other people that have tested it and used it, it's a good steel, good all-around steel. It's not super easy to sharpen, but it's not super hard either. It is possible to do. So as time goes by, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but many people have been able to sharpen it, so I'm not really worried about that. And I don't need to sharpen this one. It's still pretty sharp. So overall, I really like the knife. Some things I noticed some people have said it are downsides is that it is a bulkier knife. When you feel it in hand, it's really has a good grip on it, but it is a bit wider in pocket. A bit bulkier than your typical EDC knife. But I found that I really don't mind that. When it comes down to, for me, is I carry a tuba chapstick, I carry an EDC flashlight, and both of those are actually wider than this knife. So what it comes down to for me is it's not really any wider than that. It's actually smaller in width, so really doesn't matter. So I don't get caught up too much in the this knife is too big for EDC. So I've been carrying this one. I like it a lot. I may take the pocket clip off eventually and just put a little bit of a lanyard, because there is a lanyard hole right here, and just carry it deeply in my pocket without the clip. But not sure if I'm going to do that yet or not. We will see over time. But yeah, I think it's a great knife. Obviously there's a lot of reviews on this knife, so you're not learning anything groundbreaking here, but I did want to just give you my thoughts and opinion on the knife and kind of see what the Griptilian is all about, see what all the fuss is about the knife. But yeah, it's definitely a cool knife. Definitely pick it up. I think it's a good value. I got this one for I think around $75 from Amazon.com. So definitely check it out if you get a chance. I think that Benchmade is definitely a well-known and good brand, and their Life Sharp servicing. You know, if you want your blade dulls and you don't want to sharpen it yourself, you can send it into Benchmade and they'll sharpen it for you. Similar to other knife makers also. So anyways, that's about it. I appreciate you guys for watching the review and checking out my videos. So as always, take care, be safe, and peace.